What's going on, all you foxbody fanatics? We are back, and in this video, what are we doing? We're doing more stuff for Sweetleaf. The goal for this video is we are going to restore our Explorer GT40 upper and lower intake. That's right, we got a Explorer upper and lower. We got it from a friend of ours, Ford Blue Gauge, who is always helping the car and the channel and myself. We appreciate Ford Blue very much. He went through all the trouble to drill out the sensor in the intake so that I didn't run into trouble later on. Super appreciative. So what we're doing in this video is we are going to take off years of paint, clean them up, get them primed, get them painted. That's right. What color are we going to do? We'll have to wait and see. So alright guys, let's get to work. So we're starting with what I would guess is probably the easiest thing right now. We've just been getting some of the orange RTV, and we're getting the gasket surface for the throttle body all cleaned up. And I don't know, we'll start with something small like this and then work our way on. Do it like we always do it in sections, because you know, we could bring this to the local sandblaster and then go off to the local powder cutter. Oh wait, we don't pay for things like that.
You can't afford it. You can't afford it.
Brush and drill, brake cleaner. Lots of hours. I'm gonna put something good on the TV and get to work, because it's all for Sweetleaf. So can't wait to see all that gold pop in there one day. Oh boy, am I excited. But we got to get all this stuff done before that's even a possibility. So we've got the throttle body mounting surface pretty clean. There's a little bit of pitting, and I'm worried to go too far on it or with something more abrasive. So now we're going to move on to the sides and everything else, get all this old paint off. And you can kind of see that the original coating is peeling off and taking this black paint with it. So we have no choice. We got to go all the way down to aluminum if we want the primer and paint to adhere properly and last a long time. So, alright, well, more time with the wire wheel. These things are going to shine bright like a diamond, you know, after a day or two or three or four, or who knows. Well, it's a very, 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 very slow process. What happens is you end up getting real annoyed in one spot and you just keep moving around. Some spots are going to be a little trickier than others, but we're getting it done. So I'm not going to bore you guys with the process, but we're going to get back after it with the drill. I'm pretty determined to get all these ridges on this side done, and it'd be nice just to have one side completely done, and then I can work to another, because as you can see, I work for 30 minutes and then I get fed up with the area and then I start to move on. Up here, Landon wanted to try it, so he did these 3 ridges for me. He was coming to say goodnight to me in the garage the other night, and he's like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "Well, would you like to try?" And yeah, he got that done, so I was pretty happy with that. But I had to let the kiddo go to bed because he had school the next morning. So it's pretty much what we're up to. We want to get it down to the raw aluminum, because this black paint, it's stuck in some areas and in others it's lifting. But the real problem is the factory coating was lifting and it was taking the black with it too. So we need to get it all down to raw aluminum, cleaned up, and then we can prime it, and then we can think about what color we're going to paint it. So I'm going to get back to work now. Well, here we are. Got some hours into it, nowhere near being done. I'm gonna need some finer detail brush to get into some of the tight areas. Still have all of this to do. This is all gonna be a nightmare. This section, obviously the underside. Also need to do a final pass in all of these ridges here. My brush is too wide and they won't get in there, but we'll get something a little finer. So it's looking a lot better than it was. It's gonna look awesome. And then when we're done this, actually next step is we gotta flip this over and do the whole underside. So that's gonna be fun. We'll do that and then we'll come back around, get all the spots we missed and get it all nice and clean. So just wanted to keep you guys updated. Still got a few more days left with the wire brushing wheel. Well, the top side's all done. Now we're working on the bottom side. I assure you, this is very time consuming and no fun. Luckily I was able to get these vacuum lines out so I can really get in there and get all the paint and everything off of these too. Someone was thick on the spray can. So it is looking good. But it's very time consuming. I can feel myself getting dumber by the way. I have a lot more left to do. And if I don't want this video to be an hour long, I'm just going to have to put the nose to the grindstone and get back to work. So I've got the first pass done. I do need to get a finer brush and get into these cracks. Just to get the little bit of paint that I couldn't get with the brushes I had. Believe it or not, this is almost 4 days of wire brushing. And I was talking to Mr. Mach 1, I was talking to Gary, and that's when I told him how much time I was spending on this, and he said to me, he's like, well, why didn't you just use paint stripper? And I had, you know, one of those moments.
What are you? An idiot sandwich.
So anyway, needless to say, oh yeah, these are all the vacuum vent tubes. Had to pull them out to be able to get the wire wheel in here, but we have pictures of how they went back in, so we'll just press them back in. So this is going to get put up to the side now with the bell housing. They're just going to need, like I said, a final pass for little spots I missed and a quick shot with the steel wool, and then we can decide whether we're going to paint or polish them. We're gonna get out of here right now, go run, buy some cheap paint brushes and paint stripper, and start the lower GT40 Explorer intake. Always doing something. We're getting there though, we're getting there. I mean, you can always be encouraged when you look over and you see the pile of stuff that's ready to go, but got to continue getting this stuff ready, and this is going to be right on the top, so definitely want it to look good. Well, I figured I'd throw in a quick little update on Sweetleaf. I think her 4-cylinder life is over as it speaks, because for the last year she's been giving me some transmission issues. And at the end of last year, before I put it away, I changed oil filter, transmission oil pan gasket, and got better for a little bit. And the last couple of rides I've taken it on, it's been either hard shifting or slippy depending on how warm it is or what mood it's in. Fluid's still right on the money, so it's not low on fluid. Yeah, I think the trans is just cooked. So I'm actually letting it run since I started my new job. It's been about a month now. I haven't even started this car in a month. It's hard to tell outside, but it is filthy. It's been in the shop uncovered, so figured I'd take it outside today and let it run and lubricate itself. Also, side note, now when I start it, the engine makes all kinds of racket for about 10 seconds. It never did that before, but it's been doing it, I'd say, the last 6-7 times I've started it. And even if I drive somewhere, shut it off, when I restart it, it's like it's starved for oil for the first few seconds. So I'm not sure what's up with that, but I really don't think I care anymore. Now my priorities need to get a block. I'll give you guys an update on our engine block soon. So the bell housing and upper intake are done. They just need a final pass for the steel wool. Got Raja on couch duty. Now we're going to attempt the lower intake and the oil pan rails, whatever you want to call them. So we got a cheap dollar store brush, and we got some heavy duty paint and varnish remover. So this is like a gel that you're supposed to brush on. I did the first little section here with the wire wheel and the drill, and yeah, I'm gonna try the paint stripper. It's hopefully it'll go a hell of a lot faster. Through the power and magic of video editing, you guys think it's 30 seconds later. Well, you know what? It's the next day. So here's what we're up to today. Got Raja up to no good. Hey, buddy. Why don't you say hi to the foxbody fanatics? No? Alright. So we got our oil pan rails all stripped down, cleaned up. Now they're ready for a coat of primer. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to prime these while I'm stripping the lower. Also got the thermostat, water neck housing, whatever you want to call it, as clean as it's going to get. I got as much corrosion off as I could. So we're going to hit that with some primer as well. Now what we're going to do is we're going to head out back, and we're going to hit this with the garden hose, get the worst of the junk and dust off of it. As you can see, I already tested out my new wire brush to see how it worked. And then we're going to hit it with this circa 1850 heavy duty paint and varnish remover. Now it's like a gel, so we're going to use cheap Dollarama dollar store paintbrush. It's not even wood, it's plastic. It's made to look like wood. Oh, stir-fried rice equipment. And then we're gonna hit those parts hanging there with the engine primer. I got a little bit of black engine paint from the 1980 build, and we got some clear coat left. Again, I know no one will ever see it, but if we're gonna do it, we're gonna do it as best as we can. Right, Raj? Yeah, that's what I thought. So we used a little bit of dish soap, and we used the garden hose, cleaned the worst of the crap off of it. Now we're just letting it dry in the sun, beautiful fall sun. And once it's dry, we'll bring it back in and we'll hit it with the paint stripper. Just look at it. So while we're waiting for our engine enamel on the oil pan rails to dry, we're going to get to applying the paint stripper to the lower intake. So let's see what we got, guys. So there's nothing too fancy here. Made a bowl for the paint stripper out of aluminum foil. It's pretty easy. You take a can, wrap aluminum foil around it, nice and thick, and there you go. You have a bowl that you can throw in the trash after. So we're going to apply this, and we'll get back to you after we apply it. So we've applied a really heavy coat of that paint stripper all over. You can see it's already working. I was just swishing around the brush, and it was starting to peel it up. So it seems like really good stuff. So we'll let it work for a bit. Then we'll hit it with the garden hose, and I'm sure we'll have to repeat the process a couple of times. A lot easier so far than the wire brush, so lesson learned. Thanks, Mr. Mach 1. Oh, the oil pan rails, that's them said and done. I'm not clear coating them, just the 2 coats of primer and the 2 coats of black engine paint will do just fine. It's going to look pretty wicked on the gold, even though it'll be on the bottom. Nobody's going to see it. Water neck is primed. That's going to have to be painted a different color than black. Sorry, can't tell you yet. And That's one coat with that paint stripper. It didn't get everything, but it got it pretty close. So we're going to hit it again right now. Got it all ready to go. And we're going to brush it on. Let it set for about 15 minutes and rinse it off and hopefully get what's left of it off. A lot easier than using the wire wheel on the drill. Alright, this video is getting plenty long, so we have the upper completely stripped. We have the bell housing completely stripped. Now we gotta decide. The bell housing, I think I'm going to try and polish or clear coat. The intake, I have plans for priming and painting. The black and gold looks pretty good. Lower intake is ready for prime and paint. Cleaned all the injector holes, everything. A lot of work, but came out really nice. I'm really happy with it. So this video is already getting long, so what I believe I'm going to do is I'm going to have to cut this into 2 parts. So in the next one, you'll get to see all the fun stuff, all the priming and painting, and you'll finally get to see what color the upper and lower are going to be. So until next time, peace.